Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Brogdon and welcome back to the Mobile Ads Garage, where videos of mobile ads code arrive just like old batteries, free of charge. In our last episode, we covered how to implement interstitials in iOS and Android. Today, with the help of Gary the graphics guy, we're going to show you the best ways to use them by focusing on where, when, and how. One of the most important things to consider with interstitials is where you're going to show them within the flow of your app. Ideally, you're looking for a natural break in the action. Between levels in a game is a great one. Switching between articles or activities is another good spot. You're looking for places where the user is expecting a pause. If they're not in a hurry, they're more likely to consider what the ad has to say and they're less likely to feel interrupted. That's important because you never want to disrupt the user right when they're trying to do something. Dude, buckets o' cheese? I think that ad gave me hypertension. Picking pauses in the action for your interstitials can also help keep you in line with AdMob's publisher policies. For example, to make sure users are able to identify which app is showing them an ad, an interstitial should never be the very first thing they see when launching your app or the last thing on exiting. Another thing that can set a good spot apart from a bad one is user expectation. For example, if you had a game in which people tap like crazy on the screen, make sure you don't show an interstitial right when they think a new game is starting. They could end up tapping on the ad accidentally, which is a bad click-through. Just like we talked in our episode about banners, it's a part of a publisher's job to make sure people don't accidentally tap on ads when they're trying to do something else. All right, so that's the where part. Now let's talk when. When is mostly a question of how often. There's a balance to find between showing enough ads that you can hit your revenue goals, but not so many that you flood your user with ads. Are you dissatisfied with your current shampoo? No, thank you. Want to see a movie about a cat that plays chess? It's called Check Meow. I'm all set, really. Even if it's something the user might be interested in. Dude, cupcakes in the hallway! Cupcakes in the hallway! It's just too much. Is your dog getting enough fiber? I gotta start shaving my neck beard better. If the flow of your app is dominated by one screen or activity, it's easy to keep track and avoid this kind of thing. Imagine an app with multiple activities, though. If you show an interstitial every time the user switches, a new user who's poking around the app might end up seeing a whole lot of ads very quickly. On the plus side, this is an easy problem to fix. You can keep a timestamp of when the last interstitial was shown to make sure you don't overdo it, or you could only show an ad every other time the user switches activities, and so on. All right, so that's where and when, which just leaves us with how. The big thing I want to touch on here is how to make sure you have an interstitial ready when you need one. You might remember these steps from our last episode. Interstitials are bigger than banners and can take a little extra time to load, so they're requested asynchronously, before they're needed. You can start that process pretty much as early as you want in order to make sure you're done loading when the time comes. The important thing is that the ad waits for the user, so the user never waits for the ad. I don't know about you, but the last thing I ever want to do is sit around as for the home button. So make sure you give your app enough time for its ad requests. Even if that means you sometimes load an interstitial that you don't end up displaying, that's fine. So now you know the where, when, and how. That's all for this episode. Here are some links to our interstitial guidance pages, which have some great tips on how to use interstitials effectively. And don't forget to check out AdMob's no-nonsense guide to app monetization. It's an overview of monetization strategies that includes code and tips from other engineers. As always, if you've got a technical question relating to anything you've just seen, stop by our support forum. And if you've got a question about this video series, or an idea for something we could cover, leave a comment below, and Gary and I will see you next time. So, you want to go check out those cupcakes now? Yes. Yes, I would.